we know who the big name was. I watched a lot of this guy in his overseas play. I don't have a ton of questions about him. I feel like there was a lot of questions about his weight, but I don't. Who cares? He's so young. He'll gain weight when he needs to. But Victor Wembanyama, now he's impressed me a lot just because of not only the fluidity, but he has a very high IQ for somebody that young.
Bingo.
Very high IQ. And to be that big and that skilled and read the floor so quickly to where it's not a great idea to W, that makes for a monster. But I feel like the Spurs they have some stuff to figure out. I don't really the point Sohan stuff I get sort of because you understand you're still rebuilding, but it's just kind of frustrating watching Victor Wembanyama just fly down the lane with both hands up and they just miss him.
Yeah.
And so I want to know what you've seen from the Spurs so far. And I don't even know. We know Wemby's potential is unlimited, but I just want to know what you've seen from that team so far, and specifically with Wemby.
Wemby is special. He's a special prospect. I think some of the Chet stuff, which we'll get to, is overshadowing just how fucking good this guy is. His impact when he's on the floor and when he's off the floor just on defense is like an average defense to like the worst defense in basketball this year. And offensively, efficiency isn't there sometimes, but like you said, the point Sohan experiment, it's kind of what it is. It's an experiment, and it's kind of, I think in some ways it's hurting him, but I think in some ways it's helping him. Because I offensively, I felt like his biggest weakness was, man, he did not pass the ball in France. He did not make an extra pass. But I was always. It got to a point where I was like, can he make the extra pass, or is his role just go get a bucket? We're seeing this year his role back then was just go get a bucket. Now he is making the extra passes. That's been my most the thing that I was like, if this dude learns how to pass, he's going to be special. And it's not all the way there yet, but I can see him putting up 4 or 5 assists for somebody this big, which is again very, very good for somebody as dominant, as big as he is with the touch that he has. Like that's exactly what you want. This team is, it's not perfect for him, but him doing all this with this level of team, man, I still think he's generational, as people like to say. I hate when that word gets used, but I do think he is generational. So we'll see how far that goes.
So I do feel like he has been inefficient at times, pretty inconsistent, but that's really only a problem. And we're on the same page with this. It's only really a problem if you're just looking at the box scores and not watching the games. He has to do a lot out there to try to get this team some buckets. And so I never blame guys who have to go out of their way to try to score for their efficiency, because that's just their job. They have to take that. They have to just get the points on the board however they can, right? But I would like to see, and this is San Antonio Spurs, Greg Popovich, they're going to figure some stuff out. I want to see this team with somebody else who has to be guarded. Now, they do have that. And I don't know why his name is slipping my mind right now, because I watched him for years.
Go ahead.
Devin Vassell. My God.
Bucket. That's what he is. But
he got that money, and people were like, why would you pay him that? And I'm like, y'all need to start watching a little more basketball. He's another one. He will just
3-level score.
You're not stopping him.
No.
You're not stopping him.
They do need a point guard. Like this team undoubtedly needs a point guard. I feel like nobody's in the like the guy that I wanted them to get. He's played so damn good the last 3 games that I don't think they're trading him, which is TJ McConnell. Somebody just literally at that level would help him out so much. So it's not like I don't think anybody should be banging the table for a star yet, because he's gonna need one eventually. But no, man, Wemby's been spectacular. If this team was any better, like if this team was 500 with the level that he's playing at, he would undoubtedly be, probably, the odds-on favorite to win Rookie of the Year. He'd probably be in DPOY conversations because he's been that spectacular, at least on the defensive end.
Yeah, his defense is like like
I've
you also said, just
I've genuinely never seen a fucking player in as the pick and roll, like as the big in the pick and roll,
Mhm.
play drop at the level and fucking switching at the same time. Like I've never like it's his length, his ability. It's not just being long; it's being smart. His
Yeah,
IQ on that end, guarding pick and rolls, is like I said, generational. My comp for him was KG on defense, like
yeah,
at 7'5". So do with
and
that as you will.
and just like even if he's out of position, which is rare, he's still blocking your shot.
He's
Like
7'5". That's the thing. He can be wrong, and he has been wrong, but
yeah,
he's 7'5". So
he's still going to like he's in the paint when you gather for your 3-pointer, and he's blocking your 3-pointer.
Mhm.
Like it's just, and it's not just the length; it's also just the IQ, it's the mobility, it's just all these things that we've mentioned in a previous episode about this next guy, Chet Holmgren.
Yep.
He's somebody who I also watched pretty early. It's rare for me to watch somebody while they're in high school, but he was just this extremely tall kid who could handle, shoot. I don't even understand his level of talent either, to be honest, especially defensively. Because, like we mentioned in the previous episode, it's not just the length. His defensive IQ is one of a 10-year NBA veteran who's won multiple championships and didn't need to score. But he does score efficiently.
He doesn't drop, or Rudy Gobert doesn't drop, except he can also move his feet a little bit, which is it's fucking scary because as much slander as Rudy Gobert gets, which I think it's unwarranted sometimes, sometimes it isn't, but he's able to do that to the, damn near 80-90% of what Gobert is guarding the paint, except he can do some more switching out. Man, he's special. It's crazy. These two classes have given us so much defensive talent, especially at like the big position. Like I feel like people are just gonna they're gonna get I don't know what's the word, but they're gonna, in Spanish the word is malcriado, which it just means you're gonna get like they're gonna expect this every year. And these are two, because as much as I said Wemby was generational, I thought Chet coming out was generational defensively. And then I saw Wemby and I was like, it's the same guy, 7'5". It's crazy. But it's tough, man. These two guys we're in for a good next 15-20 years of basketball. That's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, I mean, and with Chet being as great as he is defensively, and then like I said, historically efficient on offense.
Crazy.
And the thing to keep in mind with these first two players we mentioned in this segment is, and I think Zach Harper said this about Wemby. I want to give him credit, and I'm not just stealing his quote. This is the worst they're going to be. So just think about that for a second. Like, as good as they are, they're going to come back next season twice as good, and then the next season twice as good, and then the next season, like, and learning more and being, because their IQs are ridiculous, just being in more film sessions and learning more and being smarter somehow on their defensive rotations. And then, like I said, with Chet specifically, we don't have to mention the efficiency on offense, even though he's not just some low volume scorer. He's a heavy part of the offense and still ridiculously efficient. And I can't, again, like people would just go to the height with it. It's not just that. There's plenty of real tall guys who can't finish, who can't shoot,
who don't have touch.
Obviously can't handle, who have no touch. Chet, I feel like, does not miss around the basket.
Nope.
And
nope.
Like it's just absurd. But without bias, I'm gonna go ahead and because anybody who's listening to the show, anybody who's familiar with us, they know where we're from. Then look, I'm from Liberty City. You from Hialeah. They know who our team is. One of my, well, I can't even say one of my most pleasant surprise, Jaime Jaquez Jr. So when the Heat drafted him, all I needed to see was a couple defensive highlights and them saying he fits. And I was like, you know what? I like this kid. And I can be completely honest now, because we're not in the middle of the fire anymore. When the Dame stuff was happening, I was like, of course, hey, if you could get Dame, get Dame. But the first time Joe Corner said the bullshit about we don't like that package, even though there was no package, I was like, hey, you know what? Great. Let us keep our young guys. And I really want to see what Jaime Jaquez Jr. can do. But I was only thinking defense. I had no idea he was just this ridiculously skilled on offense. And that's been a trend with younger players these past few years, just these supremely skilled, fundamentally sound offensive players. And so before I even start rambling, because this is one of my favorite types of players on my favorite team in my hometown, which I have a lot of pride in, I want to get your thoughts on Jaime Jaquez Jr.
So I'm not going to sit here and lie and say he was the guy I wanted, but for different reasons. I thought he was going to be a 10-year vet. Yeah. Like I thought he was going to be, to be very honest, I thought he was going to be a Grant Williams level player for 10 years. Not Grant Williams like the way he plays. I just thought like that level of player, you know, fourth scorer, either your best or second best defender, you know, preferably your second best defender, but he was going to play a lot of minutes. Because a lot of the things he did at UCLA were mid post operating. I was like, how much are they going to trust this guy to do that? How much are they going to trust him? Because he was his foot, man, him coming out. The two things that impressed me was his defensive IQ was fucking ridiculous. Sometimes he gambled a lot, but I feel like he had the liberty to do all that. So, you know, you take some, you win some, you lose some. But offensively, his best skill was just his footwork, his ability to maneuver to get his shot off. It felt like at all times was just crazy. And, you know, shout out to the Heat, honestly, for giving him this freedom, which I fucking begged for. Like I literally posted before the season started. I was like, if the Heat want to get anywhere near where they were last year, he's got to take them there. Like, and he has. And to be very honest, he's been better than I feel like. And it wasn't my number one option. I was cool with the pick, but man, his competitiveness. There's some things you just can't teach in a prospect. Yeah, he has all of those. Also, he just happens to be like one of the most efficient players in all of basketball in the post, which is fucking for a rookie who's not even
undersized.
Who's 6'6", 6'7". Like that's crazy. It's ridiculous that this team, which just came off of a finals appearance, is running offense through a rookie in the mid post, like not pick and roll because you know you're getting bammed. It's ISOs, letting him read the floor. Just I feel like one of his most underrated assets is how good he is as a passer, as a connective passer. The ball doesn't stick. Like when he goes to work in the mid post, he has like a good like internal clock. Like, okay, this possession's taking too long. I'm a dish out. Swing pass. Or when he gets a swing, like he just knows when to cut. And before the ball is in his hands, ball's in the corner. You know, it just Jaime has been. I don't care if it's biased. I don't give a fuck. He's been the third best rookie this year. I think he's been better than Scar. Yeah, and I don't really give a fuck if it's biased or not. Like out of all the people I've seen, he's been the third best one. His impact has been the third best. If you want to go as far as saying his winning impact, shit, you can argue it's better than Wemby's because we're you know the Heat are winning and the Spurs are not. Whether that's on the players, obviously not. But I'm just saying, like his presence has been felt, no question.
And you mentioned the Heat trusting him, and I feel like for the people who may not have been tuned into the Heat as much, even just trusting him is a bit of an understatement. Like
relying on him.
Fourth quarters, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo are on the floor, and they're like, you know what? Nah, Jaime, pinch post, get out the way. He's gonna get it done for us. And I don't think people really understand how crazy that is for Eric Spoelstra, who notoriously outside of Tyler Hero and Kendrick Nunn that 1 year does not play young players really. Very old school coach. To give the offense to a rookie. And I understand he's 22 years old, but we can talk about the stigma 4-year players have anyway. So there's two sides of that coin, but they're trusting him fully in the fourth quarters, and he's getting it done just about every single time. And last thing I want to say about his IQ, the thing that's impressed me the most, because usually with IQ, we think defensive rotations, we think passing the ball, and he obviously has that. But playing offense off the ball has been what's impressed me. That's where he gets most of his points, I think. Because no, go ahead.
No, yeah. What's crazy is he didn't even play off ball at UCLA, so we couldn't see this part of his game. So the fact that either A, he just picked up on it this quick, or B, he just never did it, like that's even fucking more impressive. Because UCLA, everything was run through Jaime, let him create, let him do everything. But now it's like he's like, I don't need the ball. I could, and that's the toughest. That's one of the toughest things to do. You can even listen to Paul George on his podcast. He's like, man, I wish I knew how to cut without the ball.
Yeah.
And this is like Paul George.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, it's crazy that somebody like him is just even able to do this at, I know he's a four-year player in college, but he's 22, man.
Yeah.
First NBA season, he just fits in. Like, I feel like he's like a piece of clay, and he's just molding into whatever the team needs.
And just with the off-ball stuff, it's the little things, right, that a lot of people don't really pick up on until I think Jimmy Butler said, like, Jimmy Butler didn't pick up on some of this stuff, so he was 28 or 29 years old. Yeah. and Jimmy Butler is also, when you include junior college, a multiple-year college player. And so he's staying within the eye line of who has the ball, and he's cutting at the right time every time. And there's times watching them where you just know that wasn't in the playbook. He just knew to do that. And it worked out every single time. And there's just not much more I can say about him aside from, man, I can't wait to see this team healthy. Even if I weren't a Heat fan, just seeing how deep they are and just I can't wait to see that. But to get a top 3 rookie at that pick is pretty ridiculous.